gonna play a little game in a minute.
Uh-oh. Oh, I got to pick. Oh,
yeah, you got to still pick something.
I got to still pick
But
one.
We're going to do the secret language of teens, 100 texts and social media acronyms. Today we're just going to start with the A's, and we're going to see how quickly you can do it. This is Arrow Boost. It goes on clear and turns red. This is good.
Arrow Boost.
Oh, no. It's broke. It's inside.
Uh-oh. Do I have to do another one then?
Yeah, do another one.
I have to
wait.
do Oh, there you fixed it somewhat. You probably won't use it if it's not. If it's look, trash can of that.
I need a new one.
Man, I can't believe it.
It was all funky. It was funky. Ooh, Neutrogena Hydro Lip Boost. I love this one. It's my favorite. And Ballet Pink.
Didn't I get that last time?
You can't go wrong with it. Okay, really quick. You got to answer them as quick as possible. There's only like 7, 6. 4, the number 4, EAE. What does it stand for?
Hell if I know.
EAE. You got to try to guess. Forever and ever. ADN.
AVN.
ADN.
ADN. Attention Deficit Syndrome or something?
Any day now.
Any day now.
AFAIK.
All fouled. Jeez.
As far as I know. AFK.
AFK. Well, I can't say the ones I'm thinking of now.
I know. This is why I cry. Away from keyboard. ASL.
Oh, shit. I can't.
Age, sex, and location. ATM.
Man, I can't say any of the ones I was thinking.
At the moment.
At the moment.
Oh, BOL. I wasn't going to go into the B's, but let's do it later. All right, let's do it now. Dang it.
What was that?
BOL.
What? Balls out later.
Be on later. We'll be on KBT later.
Oh, close.
Yeah. Anyways. So that was the A's. We touched 1B on it because I wanted to, but
the AFs are bad.
That
will get you into trouble real quick.
These are what teens are texting. So all the parents out there,
if
you're seeing these mumbo jumbo letters, they have meanings behind them. If parents get on it.
If there is any reason...
Like Netflix and chill, you know what that means?
If there is any further reason to ban the 3x5 screen, you're just making the case even stronger.
Do you know what Netflix and chill means if your teen texts it?
No. I would have no... I don't even... Netflix is that thing that shows what them screwy
movies,
TV shows.
But when teens say, let's Netflix and chill, it's code for let's... Anyway. But seriously, if you see that on your teen's phone,
too much
the
AF on that you had in the acronyms that got you stirred up.
I had nothing to do with that. No. But if, as a parent, my kids are going to start getting older and they're hearing these things, like when they play Fortnite and all this stuff, it's scary. Anyway, so I thought it was important that we cover these acronyms, and it was a fun game too.
Get rid of these things.
You're horrible at it.
See how all the things are turned off except 2 of them? Yes. Turn them off. They should eliminate those things.
Yeah, media sucks. Except for our show.
No wonder people are going crazy.
Yeah, I'm losing my dang mind. Anyways, that was Makeup with Stephanie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are we going...
I don't know what we're doing now.
I know. I guess we're going to end the show. Well, I guess we go home on a Friday. The Funky Slide Guitar Music comes on every Monday through Friday, live at 5 on Newswire, daily on Facebook and YouTube, and you're just making another case of why you should get rid of those 3x5 screens.
But it was a fun game. For all of you that don't watch the YouTube, go and check out our game. I had a blast. You were horrible.
Yes.
Something you actually didn't know. Stop, Roy didn't know. Jess.
You
need to celebrate
I told
that.
you I'd be terrible. When you said that, I'm terrible at that kind of stuff. And because I don't, I'm trying to think of when you're saying that, and it's just the way my twisted mind works when you say that. If you do that. I did use the acronyms a lot because when former Councilwoman LaDonna Jempson was on the council, she hated acronyms. So that was just like code word to every acronym you could use.
Well, look at you're wearing a shirt with that. What does it stand for?
BEA? Well, what, what do you think BEA? Well, you're looking at it. Did you?
I still didn't see it, but my mind's mushed today. BA. B.
Could be Aunt B from Mayberry.
No. B.
Let me.
Evil a-hole. I don't know. What?
There you go, bail enforcement agent. I don't even know.
Is that even a real thing?
Well,
I don't think that's a real thing.
Yes, there are bail enforcement agents.
What is bail? Like a bail?
That's
bail
like, well,
bonds?
that one guy just got killed here recently. Here in Moreno Valley was doing a bail enforcement agent. No, if you skip
like a hitman.
No, if you skip bail and their license and stuff. If you say you're convicted for murder, not charged, convicted of murder. $100,000 bail or whatever. So most people are not got $100,000 of cash or assets, so they have to go to a bail bondsman, whatever. Or
Right.
even if you do, if you get a drunk driving on $1,000, if you don't have $1,000, you got to pay a bail bondsman $100 or so to put up the bond or whatever. Which the bond is for you to appear in court. That's okay. We're going to let you out. You're charged to that, your court, so you'll show up in court. This is like a guarantee that you are. Well, some people skip out, especially on the large ones of that. So if you're, let's say, and typically it's 10%. So if you had a $100,000 bond, that's 10 grand the guy got. But if you don't show up in court, the bail bondsman has to pay the court 90 grand or $100,000. He's out $90,000. So he will call a bail enforcement agent and say, hey, Roy over there skipped out on his bail. Go find his butt. He might, whatever the deal is, he might pay 20 grand. If you find him, I'll give you 20 grand because if this guy doesn't show up in court, the bail bondsman's out 90K. So they are, and they're licensed. Who was it? The dog Chapman, who I think his wife died and had the TV show. He was a bail enforcement agent.
I thought he was a hitman. I don't know why.
No, he's not a hit. He was a bail enforcement agent. That's what his job. That's what the TV.
So they kick butt and take money.
Yeah,
and then get paid while doing it.
They don't have arresting powers per se like a cop, but they do have the right to go in and detain somebody who's on bail. If the bail bondsman or something skips in that and says,
We're in the wrong career.
Well, no, that's a pretty hairy business to be in. I mean, it's very
We'll
dangerous.
send you in first, then we'll come in after, and we'll just collect the
Yeah,
money.
thanks.
You get the person, we get the money. It's a win-win.
No, that's a very. It does pay. The bail enforcement agents probably make a pretty good chunk of change, but that's a very risky. It's a very risky, high risk job. Like I say, was it about a year ago?
Scary.
I think in the bail enforcement got killed because he was going in to bust the guy that they was in Moreno Valley, or was he from Moreno Valley in San Bernardino, something like that. But he busted into the hotel room, and the guy had a gun and shot him.
Say hi to Peggy.
Hello, Peggy.
You know what I didn't get to cover that I really wanted to on Makeup with Stephanie? Today is National Purple Heart Day and also International Beer Day. So
International Beer Day?
Yeah.
Wow.
I couldn't leave that one out.
No, and that should be the only one. That would be an appropriate.
There was like 8.
That would be an appropriate day. Just one International
Tomorrow
Beer Day.
is Happiness Happens Day.
Okay.
And National Frozen.
Well, that's because
and National Frozen Custard Day.
Well, that's appropriate. The day after National Beer Day.
Happiness is not happening the day after National Beer Day. Happiness is happening on National Beer Day. Frozen custard. What the heck is that?
Yeah. What sort of foo-foo crap is that?
David said he's about to crack a 40 ounce to celebrate.
Wow.
Good for you, David.
Yeah, and they had it not too. That was a good thing, but across the board. I mean, you go to back in the day at Orange Show Speedway at Ascot, Riverside, and I think I posted Sonny Nutter. I think posted the old 32-ounce draft beer you would get at Ascot Park for $1.50. I mean, life doesn't get much better than that. Those are the good. And I remember the year they closed in 1990, they raised it to $2, and there was almost a freaking riot about it.
You know what I want to try? I want to get into martinis. I don't know why, but I just feel like I do. Speaking of beer, really quick.
Going highbrow, huh?
Going what?
Highbrow.
What does that mean? Like Richie, fancy?
Yeah.
Goofy?
Yes, that's a.
I'm a beer
martinis
chick. I'm
are
a
like
beer chick forever.
What's the other one?
I just want to try.
What's
I
the
wanna try.
tomato one? Oh God.
Oh, Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary. Yes, that's another one. Yeah, that's like a highbrow, or that's supposed to be like a.
But they make some Bloody Marys that have like hamburgers and like all kinds of food coming at them. Really quick, I'm gonna bring up that Woody's here, located in Moreno Valley, now is canning their beer, and he is actually selling 4-packs to customers to go. Or you can go in. He's open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 3 to 9, I think. But isn't that cool? He's canning beers at his location from the beer that he actually brews there at the restaurant.
Well, yeah, that's cool, but I mean...
We're going to have to go cover that one.
Yes, but on top of that, when are we going to get back to just being able to go into Woody's and anywhere else and just act like we were before this March, before March Madness started?
I'm not sure, but I'm excited for him because he has really good beer.
Yes, on that. Here we go with, and to do on that deal, here's one of the more popular ones that was on IE Newswire on that. Dear Plexiglass, thank you for protecting me from the cashier that touched everything I'm taking home. Of that. I mean, this is and I just got a good segue into that about Woody's on that. Now, what... You see this, look at the expense. I mean, I've heard stores have spent up to $2,000 a piece retrofitting their cashiers with the plexiglass thing on that and, redoing, their stuff. On top of that, we all went to you had to, back in the day when you used to just push your card in there and the cashier would take all the stuff and then they got us on this all conveyor stuff. Well, now you can't put this on there and you can't put that on their net and you can't use, the old, we got rid of the plastic bags and they all wanted us to go to these recycling cloth bags and then we found out, oh, that's more dangerous, more disease is spread in them than the plastic bags and all that. And now you can't put you can't use you can't put your stuff in on the tray. You have to take it off the counter and then put it in the basket where your bags are at. It's just completely freaking insane of this. Like you said,
where are you shopping at?
All the regular stores around here, the 99-cent store, Food for Less, what's the Smart and Final, or whatever on that, the grocery stores of that. And like you say, you're putting the stuff on.
I kind of like the plexiglass, though.
Why?
I think you kind of cut off that interaction, but for some places, I think it's good. Like, I went to my orthodontist appointment the other day, and they have the plexiglass. What if I sneeze? Or what if someone goes in there sneezing and all that? I think it's not the worst thing in the world. Bright side of looking at things sometimes. You just anyways.
Here you
Stop
go.
doing my job.
With the you see non-mask wearers as a disease spreading defiant imbeciles, when in reality they are fighting for your last remnants of freedom you didn't know you were about to lose.
That's dramatic.
And that's that's the one I put up today on that. And I've been saying, no matter what we do, they just keep raising the bar. I talked about it last week of that. It doesn't matter what we do. They're slowly working you in like maybe it's a good idea they have the plexiglass.
I'm not saying it's a great idea. I'm just saying that it's not the worst thing in the world.
Didn't I tell you when this started? You might as well forget about schools as you know it. Now they're talking about they're talking about no in classes all for 2021.
Stop it.
Now they're talking it's coming out. Watch the next thing. If you're going to do the buzzer so people can hear it.
They can still hear it.
Put it up by your mic. Well, if you're going to buzz it.
They're going to get sick of it because I'm going to be pushing this whole
If you're going to buzz it, then buzz it for good. No, watch what's coming. Watch what's coming next. You can see what's setting them, along with the mandatory vaccine. It's going to be, they're going to make it mandatory that you got, anytime you go out or in that, you're going to have to wear a mask. You can see this coming. That is the next step. It doesn't matter. We just had the Trump press conference on. Cases are going down all across the board. Half of the counties in the United States reported 20 cases or less.
Wait, what?
20 cases of COVID-19 or less in the last week.
Then why aren't we opening back up? See, but my thing is, so they're saying like there's such a decrease so drastically, and like how are these numbers coming so down so quickly? But then at the same time, if they rise quick, why wouldn't they go down quick? Right?
It's because,
you would kinda think so.
like we put the witch down there, Farrar down in L.A., that said, on Monday she said, the cases going down and everything are because we made wear masks and social distancing and all this other stuff. And then on Wednesday, the data has been underreported and we don't know, and our records are just a mess. We don't even know what the hell we're talking about. We're basing all this stuff on numbers again. It takes South Dakota, take the double S Sweden or wherever that never put any lockdown measures in. And even in the case of South Dakota, it only broke out in one meatpacking place, one place. Sweden bit the bullet. Cases went up. Cases went back down. Over with. If masks and all this stuff, why all the big death rate in New York City and in New Jersey and Connecticut, the greater New York City area, where damn near half of the deaths were at? This stuff is, again, they just keep cycling you more and more and more. They just keep, it doesn't matter what we do or what we say, okay, now that we're getting more people to comply with the mask, then we can run the mask mandate, and we're going to come in that. You were here yesterday, and I don't know if you watched the show, but I put on...
Always.
But I put on the
recap just in case I didn't.
Pretty good save there.
Right? I thought so too.
But we put on that's the next battle that's coming in. They want to chop off Prop 13. Prop 15 is the new one. They want to do split roll of that and raise all the property taxes on commercial and industrial properties. That'll be the next raising of the bar, and then they'll come after that. We played the crazy, wigged out chick that's the head of the United Teachers of Los Angeles, saying, we're starving to death over here. We need more money. Average salary for 9 months of work for the teachers in California is $100K a year, $100,000 for 9 months worth of work. They ain't starving to death. And their demands were not, you think teachers are for kids? Their demands were to go back into class.
Teachers' union demands were too. You can't say
and that represents the teachers.
Yeah, but you can't.
When are they teachers other than Steve Campos and a couple of them? Where are the teachers lining up at schools saying, we're ready to go back in, open these schools up right now? Silencio. They wanted defund the cops, more pay, health care for all, yada, 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 a whole bunch of political demands. And as we pointed out, it went from the National Education Association, which is the blanket one for all of them. That's all over the country. They're all partners in that, every one of them. And then you have your state ones, California teachers, and then you have the locals like UTLA and LA and MVEA and Moreno Valley and on and on and on. They're all tied together. And as we said, they have dwarfed anybody in political contributions, $200 million just in the state of California in the last 10 years. They pack a political force. They are a political organization, and they have nothing to do, and they could care less about kids. It's all about them and their money and their political agenda. Because what has any of that other stuff got to do with about kids being back in school? Nothing. We can make it safe. If you don't like the job, then find another one. We will hire somebody who will do the job.
True.
Easy. Problem solved. As I said yesterday, it's the lack of if one good thing, if there is a rebound and we win on this deal, the one good thing hopefully that will happen out of this thing is education across the board.
Welcome back as students are getting ready to head back to school. There's a lot of...
Will be will be on the board, going that no way, no how on the reformed education, because our public school systems across this nation, by and large, probably at a 90% clip, are a mess, and they're run like this. And that's what we got when you got teachers up there trying to say, after all this, we want to raise taxes again because we're going broke, making $100K a year, and I want to see the teacher that lost its job anywhere in the state of California over COVID-19. They haven't missed one red cent over this whole deal. And they're screaming like this. This is flat ridiculous.
I love my teachers, and I have a totally different outlook than you do. So I don't want to sit here and argue about it, but I get what you're saying with them not stepping up and like fighting, but that's why they have a teachers union to do that for them. So how do you know that they're not fighting that teachers union?
Because they're not speaking up. Like I said, where are the teachers that are saying we want to go back to class?
Because there's a lot of teachers that want to go back to class.
How many of them have quit making political contributions to the PACs that are funding that?
What the hell are you talking about?
They have to take out of their union dues, and that was the Janus decision. They don't no longer. They can opt out of that and not fund the teachers' union's political activities. How many teachers have stepped up and pulled their money out of the deal supporting this stuff? Because if you're paying dues and you're delivering to the PACs that are pushing this, then you're just as you are agreeing with what they are saying. And how many teachers are saying, no, we don't agree with this?
Richard writes in, so the NRA cares about the kids and gun safety with a question mark.
I would say, what do you mean?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, yes, NRA, for the most part, is all about any type of gun safety.
He also writes in, lots of cops making over 100,000. Where's the outrage?
I will say this. Cops' jobs are a heck of a lot more dangerous than teachers. And the average cop salary, I think, is about $80,000 a year less than a teacher. So let's get to the average, not the highest paid one, because if you want to start on that, you go to the university system and look at all the ones that are making $500,000. Professors are making that on the California university system. That's even ripping us off worse than the K through 12. So we can go, let's talk facts and figures and what the numbers are, and let's not go to that. And if you've listened to this show, I have called out the cops and firefighters supporting these same tax increases like that. Where have you done that, Richard? Show me where you broadcast that. Show me where you stood up and actually got in the game and did something positive or did that. Because we beat the tax increase on Prop 13, the one for the $15 billion school bond. Did you support that, Richard? The people of the state of California said no, finally, on this stuff because they've had enough. Let's get down to brass tacks of what's doing it. You know how much we spent? They spent $300,000 to try and pass Measure A, the RCC bond. We spent zero and beat it in Riverside City College Community District, and 7 of the 8 school bonds lost in the last election. Where were you at on that, Richard? Were you supporting the tax raisers? And imagine if we'd have passed those bonds with the stuff we got going on now. We'd be in a deeper world of hurt. So let's get to what the brass tacks of this stuff, and let's deal honestly with it. And again, I want to see the teachers at the schools ready to walk in the door saying, open these gates.
You good? Feel better? How much does an average teacher make?
$100,000 in California. Average. Average. For 9 months worth of work. If you prorate that out to a full year's salary, that's over $125,000 a year. Average.
I'm going to have to look that up.
Look that up.
You know what I did one time,
TransparentCalifornia.org. Go ahead and look it up. They publish all the public employee salaries of everywhere else. Please check it out.
What was it again? So Richard can go and look because he thinks
TransparentCalifornia.org.
Okay.
More of this stuff of what's going on. This was Tucker Carlson on about a week or so ago on that. We'll run a little bit of this while I'm fired up a little bit on this whole deal.
Yay. I'm just kidding.
Seems unrelated, a lot of it shocking. Here's the way to understand it. In an election year, everything significant that happens is about the election. So all of these developments are in fact related. And here's the core question in every election: who's up and who's down? As of tonight, the president is down double digits in the polls, and there's not much question about why that is. Americans are miserable. They're stuck at home. They are fearful. Millions of them don't have jobs. The percentage of Americans who believe our country is headed in the right direction has dropped off a cliff since this spring. Not coincidentally, that's when a strange new virus from China began to spread among our population. The rise of COVID-19 in the United States tracks almost precisely the decline of Donald Trump's approval numbers. And the political lesson from this is clear. The more damage the Wuhan coronavirus does to America, the harder it is for the president to get reelected. That's not speculation. It is the most certain fact in American politics. Every Democratic office holder understands that. If the population remains terrified, Democrats will have more power in January. So the Democratic Party has every incentive to keep Americans afraid and off balance. For the next 97 days, they plan to do that. That is their entire campaign strategy. It's the only thing they're running on.
There you go. Mason Weaver said it, how they keep you on the plantation, fear. That's what they use to that, like that, scare you to death. Your kids are now, but no evidence that kids are spreading it. Pretty soon you're going to see evidence all over the place that kids are going to spread COVID-19 for wildfire. We can't go back to school. We can't do this. We can't do that. Anything else? Here's more on Tucker.
Yesterday, the news site Breitbart posted a video of a group of physicians giving a press conference about medical advances in the fight against COVID. Some of the news the doctors delivered was hopeful because there is hopeful news to report. 17 million people saw that video. The president retweeted it. This enraged Democrats. Any scientific advancement that reduces the suffering of Americans in an election year is a threat to Joe Biden's campaign. So they decided to pull that video off the internet. 15 years ago, that would have been absurd. You couldn't have done it. This was America. You weren't allowed to ban a news story just because it might hurt your candidate's poll numbers. In any case, it was impossible. There were too many news outlets then. No one could control them all. That has changed. While the rest of us were sleeping, or in the case of so many of our senators taking payoffs from Google, a tiny number of left-wing corporations took virtually complete control of all news and information in this country. Now, if Democrats want to erase a politically inconvenient news story fewer than 100 days before an election, they can do that. And they did do it. Big tech censored science. They pulled the video of doctors in lab coats talking about coronavirus research, and they hid that video from the public. That's exactly what the Chinese government so often does, except when Silicon Valley erases your freedoms, they lecture you as they do it.
How many times we got to be lectured? As Tucker said, look at all the news outlets are gone, and now you're down to a couple of high-tech Silicon Valley companies that control 98.7% of all the information you get or don't get. Now, if that isn't a red flag, alarm bells, anything else going on that they can just wipe out, this is how you get rid of coronavirus. This is what cures it. Hydrochloroquine or whatever it is. Trump said right off the beginning was that doctors have used it. Testimonies we've had them on that said that this is, there's so many testimonials, and we do not, as Dr. Kelly said, and we pointed out in the show on Monday, it's an over-the-counter drug in Europe. That's how safe the drug is, and you take that. And your odds of getting it, if you're doing that, probably better than if you take a vaccine of whatever they are or aren't coming out with. This is the absolute crazy. But this is the danger of what it is. And when I talk about this, and when few of us talk about what the power of this little thing, and you letting this control your lives, and that's all you're getting. They can control, make you see whatever they want. And then they're going to, and to get you to comply, they're going to put the fear of God or Mother Nature or them into you. And that's how they get, ultimately, they say, they take your natural inclination to have free will and freedom, and they put you on the plantation, they put you under their control, just slowly, like they're doing, slowly raising the bar, shaming you, doing whatever tactic it takes to get you to comply. And they're going to do it as without even firing a shot. And that's what's sad about this whole thing.
So I've been scrolling. I went to that Transparency California, or Transparent California.
Yes.
Which was weird because my phone already knew before I even typed it in. Scary. Anyways, I've been scrolling through. I just used Moreno Valley Unified as an example because that's where we're based at for here. And I've gone through probably about 12 pages, seeing about half the staff at the school my children attend. And not one of them are below 130,000. I know that I think his name is Richard, knows a lot and everything, but
And Moreno Valley
dude,
is
you are right.
And Moreno Valley is on the low. They're actually, the average teacher salary is below. We are below.
That's crazy.
We are below the $100,000 average in the state of California.
But that's before, these numbers are before everything comes out though, right? Like taxes and everything.
That's what your salary is.
Right.
Of that. And
just wanted to
and
throw that
Moreno
out there.
Valley Unified, and I will say that they are on the low end of the scale. They are below that. I think their average salary is about, average teacher salary is about 85 or 90. They're about 10% under, and they're on the bottom end of the scale. But that's what I'm saying. If you you thought I was lying about this?
I didn't think you were lying, but sometimes
You thought I was
just-
inaccurate about it?
No, it drives me crazy. I can never get them wrong.
There's only one. New Jersey is the only one with a higher average salary in the 50 states of that than California.
I think
on teacher
teachers
salary.
though their jobs are.
I'm not saying that, but let's cut through the crap. Teachers' unions are not about educating your kids. I've said it under 84 million times. They're not about educating their kids. They're about getting more money for less work and higher benefits for their teachers. And now they're trying to push the same political agenda crap that's on there like that. They've been wrecking they've especially wrecked California since the passage of Prop 98 in 1988, and then Garamendi getting 111 in on 91, destroying the GAN spending caps, and they turned California from number one in practically everything to down in the bottom, including education. That is a crying shame, and they did it with their money, largely. They are holding big responsibility for this, and their idea to fix it is to swirl us deeper in the toilet bowl. And we're supposed to support that?
You're right again. Damn it.
All right, guys,
So don't
here we go. 10
don't
seconds.
buy the BS that they give you. How many times do I got to say that?
Download your free phone app today. IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday at 5:30 on the Mighty Met, 1490 on IE Newswire on that. And it should probably be said that Roy is always right. Except I'm the one that should be having the buzzer because I give, no, that can't possibly be right.
Hey, I'm not the only one that says that, okay? But yeah, you're right again.
Of that, and just for the aforementioned, that we're talking about all this stuff. Trump had a kind of a last minute press conference called at and he came on about 4:30 our time. We covered about the first 20 minutes of it. He went through the stuff. He said since the Congress is playing politics with this stuff, he's going to put out some executive orders to fix some of this stuff because it doesn't look like it's going to get done because we're in that. But on top of that, he said, hey, half the counties in America right now had less than 20 cases in the last week of coronavirus in that. There's nothing to worry about. Per se, there's a few hot spots. We're working on those of that and all the stuff. But we went about the control of what was going on in the teacher salaries and all the madness carrying over what they did yesterday on this stuff. And supporting now Prop 15. Trying to cut down the original Prop 13, which was our protections of property tax from taxing them out of your homes. They're going to try and do that to, they're going to start, again, raising the bar, chipping away at it. They're going to start with the evil business owner. As I've said, businesses do not pay taxes. They are tax collector for the government. You, the end consumer, is the one that pays the taxes. So It would be I would say go back and watch on YouTube or Facebook on IE Newswire. Watch the first half hour of the show if you're just joining us on KMET, because man, that no more stuff of that, and the control that's being put over you on this 3x5 screen is getting absolutely scary on that. But we're going to shift gears on this a little bit. And we've tried to get him on all week, and that, but our schedules have kind of been a little messed up or not been able to do. But we haven't had him in on a long time too. But he owns Riley's Farms up in Oak Glen, where the apple fire right in the midst of where it was started. He has a really, really nice farm and business establishment and stuff on that. And we may later on touch on his case that he had going on with one of the school districts on that. But Jim Riley, welcome to iNewsWire Daily with Stephanie and Roy.
Great to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
You
Hey,
got
Jim.
it. So give us a lowdown, because you were right there at ground zero where the apple fire started. Just kind of give her an overall view of what you started when this thing broke out.
It's a very kind of confusing odyssey, gratifying in some ways, because the fire more or less skirted our 760 acres. We got a little singed on the mile-high Cherry Valley side, but no structures, and we got some free clearing from the fire. But basically, when it started, my older brother had come up the road, said he saw 3 different fires burning, which is usually a signature of arson. And my niece actually saw 4 teenagers at the Oakland Schoolhouse Museum with lit lighters about 30 minutes later. It's gonna be an interesting story to find out how this started. Officially, they've said it's carbon from a malfunctioning diesel engine, but a lot of folks don't know that Oak Glen has been the subject of numerous arson fires. In 2009, there was an arson fire. 2018, teenagers burned up part of Bogart Park and caused a huge mudslide the next winter. And, I think a lot of citizens are very frustrated that nothing ever happens to these arsonists. So we're very sensitive about that. We're going to keep pressing to find out whether arson had any role in this fire. But basically, CAL FIRE did an amazing job. They contained it the last 2 days on our side. I hear it's still burning on the Banning side pretty fiercely. But they've got a huge command center down below us in Noble Creek Park there on the Oak Valley Parkway, which is really impressive. If you've ever seen a command center for firefighting, it's amazing. They build a small city. They've got communications and catering and restrooms and, printer facility. It's pretty amazing to see. But They really are pretty good at putting out wildfires, but there's a lot of public policy involved in fighting fires. The U.S. Forest Service about 4 years ago basically allowed some fires to burn, and so we were very concerned that that wouldn't be a policy feature in this fire. they assured us that was not the case, and they did a great job. We got to see quite a bit of the fire from our vantage point. We were like an island in the center of it for a while there.
Right.
How scary.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. She
just said how scary it was that to be. Yeah, were you ever really nervous about being in the middle of that?
Well, I've been through 10 of these, and we have a 150,000-gallon water tank, 6-inch mains. We've put in some of our own fighting infrastructure, but over the years you get a little bit used to it. But you should never take it for granted because it can move across that brush very, very quickly. And we just had so many offers of help and prayer, and it's gratifying to see how many friends you have in a crisis like this. People are very anxious to help. People fed the firefighters. People offered to move animals. It really is gratifying in these times of such, political and cultural strife to see how much people love each other, and that was all great. But yeah, it can be a little bit scary, but we have the ability to lay out on a big, broad, open, grassy lawn and turn on 2 fire hoses with 150,000 gallons behind it. We're not as maybe scared as most people on the edge of fire in the wilderness, but we had good professionals out there protecting us, and we really want to get to the root of what caused this, but it's just part of living in Southern California, I guess.
I want to get to that because there's 2 things of that. I brought up many times that not only this fire, but the many fires that have destroyed billions of dollars of property and cost lots of lives in California, of us not properly maintaining our forests, clear cutting, doing controlled burns, clearing out dead trees, vegetation that were fuel to start these things or make them spread where firefighters don't have fire breaks to get to them and stuff, and causes a condition, I think, like you said, well, in some cases they got to let it burn in some areas just because they can't get to them or they don't have access to it or that. And we've done a lot of damage. I've said these so-called eco-freaks of this have done more environmental damage to us than those of us who actually want to work with the environment, or like yourself. I mean, it's good that CAL FIRE and all that is out there, but you personally responsible. This could be a danger in the area you're in. You have your own equipment are there so in case something breaks out or something, you can protect your own farm and everything too. You're not just relying on the government or somebody else to protect you.
Yeah, I mean, we have a chance. We fortunately still live in an environment in a county where you can drill your own wells, where you can manage your own water, and that's essential in rural areas. I think that the forest, a lot of people don't know there's 2 major agencies in the government that manage forest lands: Park Service and U.S. Forest Service. And U.S. Forest Service would manage the forest as a renewable resource. And I'm an old guy now. I'm 60 now, and I'm old enough to have planted poplar trees that are now 80 feet tall. And the reality is, that you used to be able to go into the forest, apply for a permit, cut down the dead wood, use it for firewood, use it as a resource. And we've got to get back to that. We've got to get back to this notion of man having dominion over the creation, basically using the forest for what it's good for, building and, heating, your home, basically. My nephew Devin said he used to be able to go up into the forest, pay for a permit, cut down the dead stuff, and get his firewood for the winter, but they don't allow that anymore. And I think that it's misguided environmental policy to believe that the forest manages itself better than man can manage it, because we really can manage it better than nature run amok.
Right. Why wouldn't they want you to go and use nature? I don't get why they would get rid of that.
I'm a little bit deaf. Could you repeat that question?
Yeah. Stephanie's asking, because she's, as I think you and I have talked about it before, I know I have, the reason they do, that's what I'm saying. It's absolutely crazy policy. They won't let you cut a dead tree out. You're not going out there cutting the live
Especially
trees
if
out.
you're paying to go and cut it.
Yes. And as Jim said, we used to be able to do this. It was like no big deal. Okay, go out there. Okay, you get a permit. They didn't want you cutting down the other trees. And if you did cut down new trees and stuff, you were in a heap of trouble. But you were actually helping them out. Not only the property owners, but not endangering the firefighters' lives, because if a fire breaks out, well, there's not a lot of dead wood, which is like super fuel.
Right.
Yeah, it just makes sense. It makes sense for everyone to use the forest like a renewable resource. I've planted some poplars up here, and poplar is an amazing tree. You just cut off a branch, stick it in the ground.
Yes.
You have like a 80-foot tree within 10 years basically. And I've planted Monterey's up here, and they're huge, towering pines now. But the reality is that you at some point need to manage that. You need to cut down the overgrowth. Up here in Oak Glen, we just have too many black bears. They're like rats up here. There's just tons of black bears, and they should allow hunters to have a more aggressive hunting season, thin down that population, make some bearskin rugs, and have some bear stew, and use nature the way it should be used, which is to serve mankind.
Exactly. I couldn't agree with you more.
It is, and part of the, and you're exactly right. And that's why, you have hunting licenses on top of that, so you just didn't go out there and just shoot
Right.
every bear that was in there. But we have a donkey population that got out of control around here of that, and a bunch of them got out on the freeway and killed somebody of that because they stopped us from thinning the herd out, and then they made it a federal mandate. You couldn't do that. Now they're just all over the place. And again, I want to say like that, when one of those donkeys comes through somebody's windshield and kills people, I don't want to hear the whining and crying about it, because that's what you wanted. This is a consequence of that, of not properly maintaining nature.
Yeah, it's a basic biblical mandate. Take dominion over the earth. Man is the top creature in God's creation on earth, and this goes completely contrary to environmental policy, which is let nature do what it's going to do. And nature, I'm sorry to say, is a bit of a bitch sometimes.
Yes.
The best way is to make an honest woman of her, marry her, and form some sort of domestic felicity. Because I always tell people, the Oak Glen farmers, if you look at the beautiful orchards and the maintained land and the irrigation, you can go over one ridge on our property and see what it looked like before the farmers got here, and it's really rough and wild and not very hospitable. The West really was won by European settlers who came out here and made it livable. And people don't know how livable it is because they take it for granted. It's just when you see the firefighting capacity we have in California as a result of capitalism, harnessed capitalism, taxation in order to allow great firefighting services. It's really an amazing thing to see what we can do. We can, when you wake up to see a 747 coming over your house, 500 feet above your house, it's pretty amazing to see what can be done to fight fires in California.
We got about 5 minutes left, and I want you to outline what you used to do, or what you do. I still think you do out at Riley's Farms, is about teaching the kids history, how how the country started, and that. And your little foray, which wound up in you suing a school district on that. Just give them a brief kind of background of what you did, what happened, and where we are right now.
Well, we try to make history exciting when families and kids, individuals come up here. They're greeted by redcoats or Gold Rush 49ers or Civil War reenactors, and they get to live 4 hours in a period of history as though they're really talking to the people who lived at that time. And it's make-believe. but it actually makes those stories very exciting, and it's been very gratifying to see that, we see as many as 80,000 school kids a year. COVID will probably stop that a little bit this year, but we're already getting lots of bookings from Christian, Catholic, private schools, and I think some public schools are going to see the light and decide that COVID policy has been crazy for them. But we see a lot of kids, and we basically try to make history exciting for them. What happened to me is that my private political expression became something that a public school teacher in Corona decided that she needed to suppress. So on public school time, she copied all my tweets on my private account, sent them around to school districts. And I was making fun of Louis Farrakhan, a genocidal, anti-Semitic racist, but she made it sound as though I were a racist for criticizing Barack Obama for embracing Louis Farrakhan. So, at any rate, a lot of schools canceled, and I say a lot. It was a minority of our customers, but several lawyers told me that public agencies don't have the right to censor your private political speech. If they could do that, in some localities, only a good, staunch Democratic Party member could be hired as a civil servant or as a contractor to the school district. So the courts frown upon that. And our First Amendment case is going pretty well. I mean, the First Amendment side is great. The qualified immunity side is not as good. But we believe we're at a point now. We had a minor setback, but it may go to the Ninth Court of Appeals. But we have a legal foundation that has now taken our case for free because it has so much merit. And Tom Eastman has just made a masterful First Amendment case on this. So we're going to be suing about 9 to 10 school districts. And the purpose of that is to remind public civil servants that they cannot throttle the political speech of their employees or their contractors.
And I think that's probably as or more important even than we were talking about the fire and the echo, the echo freaks who are non-echo, who are actually doing more damage to that. It's the same thing. It's if they are able to control your political speech, the United States of America as we know it is over.
Yeah, without question. We had an incident in Yucaipa, and a local woman basically stated her opinion, and some cancel culture people got a hold of Crown Ace Hardware, I think it is, and got her put on temporary removal from her position. And I think conservatives have got to start fighting this with fire, basically. If we're basically intimidated into speaking the truth, and we, unlike the left, we know the truth. We're the bearers of light and goodness and truth, and we cannot stop speaking. I know I'm being a little dramatic, but we can't stop speaking, or the culture will die. And so we've got to fight this cancel culture with every fiber of our beings, because we know the truth, they don't.
Yeah, it's amazing what's going on. But
really quick, I just want to ask you: are you still planning on having your event this Saturday, August 8th, beginning at 10?
Yeah, we're going to be open tomorrow. Fire department did a great job, so the roads are open, and we have tons of strawberries, blackberries, raspberries. So we're inviting everyone to come up. We're going to have live music in the Ale Garden, and we're going to have adventures in the old world.
Yes, actually, yeah, you can actually, you don't have to stare at the four walls like we're doing on that. James Riley, it's great to have you on. It's been far too long since we've had you on, and we'll have to do it again real soon.
All right, good, fun talking.
You got it.
Bye.
There you go on that. Yeah.
And I did go ahead and I did share his Facebook event in the comments section on Facebook, as well as YouTube. If you can't get to that on YouTube, for those that are watching on there, go ahead and shoot over to Facebook, go to Riley's Farms, and then his events are right there.
There you go of that. And kind of an update
pretty
on
cool.
that, of that, but of the things, and you heard of the James Riley case going on that. You see why some of us are kind of concerned about what goes on.
So, yeah.
I mean, there, it isn't, I think when you hear stuff
That's
like
sad
this,
that she went and ruined. He's basically a small business, and he's trying to bring history to these children, and you went and ruined that for so many people, only because of an opinion. I mean, not even that was his opinion, but in general, that was your thought, was his opinion, wasn't or what you agreed with. Now you're going to ruin his life and his family's life. He's supporting not just himself, but I'm sure multiple people. And then now you're going to jeopardize that because he didn't agree with you. Really?
And it's like the deal when we were on Wednesday about the millennial. It says, "Oh, it's too intense to study World War II." See what we're building when. When I talk about you can't run everything 100% on emotion. You can't say, "Oh, don't cut down a dead tree." What in the hell are you talking about?
See, that's the best type of recycling. Go up there, tag all the trees that should be cut down, sell them to Jimmy John because he wants to make a freaking fire for his family, and then bada bing, bada boom. You're not. Now they don't even have to deal with it.
How many of those goofballs, eco freaks, weirdos have been chaining themselves to trees for decades? For doing
live living trees, I can see where they wouldn't want them cut down.
They've done it at dead trees.
Historic ones, but dead ones that are going to catch on fire and jeopardize an entire forest. I mean, you got to think of all the animals living in there.
And all that, and even some of that.
And Jimmy John wants to make a freaking fire for his family. Allow it!
Trees. You need a little work on the baton twirling.
That was dramatic.
Yeah, you need some real work on the baton twirling.
Yeah, I give up. Anyways, carry on.
On that. No, I mean, see how it all fits together? You can't have your school boards, your city councils, that from executive staff to your elected officials, the vast majority of them babbling about, we can't, or we don't want to do anything, crying about this, that, and the other thing of that. This is what you wind up with. I said, you're not going to like where it's going to go when it winds up, but don't be whining and crying about it because you didn't want to hear. Don't say, when somebody says, and is pretty credible on this, says, teachers in California on average make $100,000 a year. Do you think they're blowing that stuff out their butt, or that's actually the case?
Well, sometimes we think you're just blowing stuff out of your butt.
But what is it? In practically 100% of the cases, what is it?
I don't want to talk about it. I can't hear you. I don't know.
And
what are you saying?
It's
something?
like that. It's like what. So you've heard it from Susan Shelley. You've heard it from James Riley and many others. Kelly Victory and on and on and on have been on the show. This is why you.
I know, but I believe them. I don't know why. I have a hard time believing you. I feel bad. It makes for a good show, though.
And that's what I'm saying. But this is why this is important. You want to know why your kids ain't going to school? Look at your teachers. They're the ones that are running a political agenda, demanding that they not go back to school, running it for a political agenda, and not giving up one red cent in this whole deal while you are out there suffering.
David writes in, Roy's butt blows the truth. We are having way too much conversation about Roy's butt. Can we please move on now? I'm feeling a little uncomfortable.
Obviously, other people aren't.
Well, shoot.
No, it's really, and that's the thing, is you can't after the fact is too late. Not going up to your school boards and holding your school boards accountable, and then you say, well, why ain't my kid in class? Now is too late. You should have been paying attention there, but you can't change history, but you can change what happens in the future. And if you don't make your voice heard, if you don't call it out when they're blowing you bullshit up on that stage,
Sean, that was not me.
There you go. On the deal. That's what they are doing. 100%. And it's got to stop. Each and every day, because they are doing it. And it never will end unless you demand it to end. And if everybody wants to get in the arena or complain about it, then let's go. Because now it's getting down to nut cutting time.
Ooh, ow. I don't
of
have
what,
any. Hey, neither do you, buddy.
Thanks.
I'm just kidding.
Of that.
I don't know.
It's getting down to that. Each and every day. More and more, they keep raising the bar and moving it all across the board, and the vast majority of you are not standing up. And again, you're not going to like the end result of what happens if you don't, because we're getting down to that critical moment. Either you're going to stand up or you're going to stand down. Which are you going to
Susan
do?
from her valley said you're wrong, so you got to stand up and just, no, I don't even stand
We'll
up.
pick that up Monday. Until then, we're gone.
We're gone.